just excited. So much going on in our program, and you can't ignore the momentum of players that have left our program that are playing at the highest level, our recruiting efforts, this facility, our fans. So Team 10, this is an exciting way to kick off our fall, and we're looking forward to the next 5 weeks to working hard and growing.
I know a lot of talk is, especially on the newcomer pitchers, and you guys brought a lot in, but I wanted to ask you about Teef. I know when he came to you guys last year, a lot of baseball experience, but no real college baseball experience. Just how did you see him kind of acclimate to his role, and just how much have you seen him grow when he got here?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen all the growth yet. I think that's what's exciting to me going into this second fall for him. I remember my experience going from NAIA baseball to the Southeastern Conference, and how the first recruiting cycle, the first season, I'm like, what did I get myself into? And by year two, establishing myself and being more comfortable, I guess, and understanding the game. It doesn't matter really what level it is. It's just figuring out the strategies of what makes each level competitive. That's why I always tell pitchers, if you're a high school guy, help your team win a state championship, be the best player you can there, because our setup's completely different. And then when you leave college baseball and go to professional baseball, it's aluminum versus wood. There's, you're playing with even older players. Each setup for each level is different, and time's a great teacher. And but my early results with Teef is a fighter, and he's absolutely stayed in the fight, and he's been adjustable, flexible, to where we've partnered on some things and trying to figure out the strategies of, seeing it one time, going through it a second time. But I think he's a fighter, adjustable, and has great knowledge. And the reason why we brought him here was to keep us second to none with the advancement of the analytics and technology. And I guess if somebody said, what's old school, I'd have to look in the mirror there. And the goal is still to get to where we balance those two things. And it's still so believable in me and what we do. And by bringing Teef here, that I'm excited to see this growth start to pay off here in this second year.
Butch, do you guys have definitive roster scholarship limits? And they talk about roster management is such a crazy thing now. They talk about dealing with that, what you're having to do.
There's 3 buckets that I'm getting information from. One is nonsense, whatever the world is saying and whatever's out there. SEC head coaches meetings help, but the answer to the question is no. I think we know. I think what college baseball coaches know, and what we're waiting for is we know that we're going to have 34 players. That seems concrete. Outside of that, the number of scholarships, et cetera, is to be determined. So, and even just coaches talking amongst themselves, and even administrator, if you get once every 2 weeks with somebody above you, you're like, what do you got? And you're like, nothing yet. We're working hard. And I get it. So I think we know we're at 34. I've heard, honestly, I guess, but you can't really take this to the bank. I'm just saying word of mouth. I'm hearing 24 to 34 and anywhere in between. Can you stop recruiting? No. So we've continued to have visits. We just had a 5-week homestand with our football. We had visits each and every week, and we're continuing to try to acquire talent, continuing to try to recruit, understanding that we're waiting for a ton of guidance.
Yeah, Coach, targeting guys like Cooper McMurray, Ike Irish, what's it mean to kind of have that leadership back in the locker room, and obviously the production they bring?
Yeah. Yeah, Ike, he's getting a lot of publicity, I see, from looking around, and well-deserved. I need to keep him hungry and working hard, just like I need to keep myself hungry and working hard. Cooper McMurray, you just feel like any coach in our league would feel like, man, here's a guy between 12 and 15 home runs and maybe 60-plus RBI. We'll take that. And he's our one injury that we talk about, I guess, going into the fall. He had a fracture with a hit by pitch, so he's going to be out for a few weeks. But he's so important to our team. I want him to continue to have a voice. So we're having our first squad game today of our first team practice, and I'm having him coach first base because I need him in the frame. And when he says something, I want people to listen. So I don't need him in the training room while we're squadding. I don't need him in the back of the dugout. guarding the water cooler. I need him in the frame. So those are a couple of big people that you mentioned. And to not get too long-winded, I just say everybody else that's a returner on this team got some experience. And whether they got what they wanted or not, or felt like they underachieved or whatever, they have to apply that experience now for something positive. So I'm counting on a lot of guys, especially the guys on the mound. That's still the biggest elephant in the room question mark with the program, is trying to return to a standard of play on the mound. But every one of those guys got some innings and experiences, and can they better that? So it's not just a couple of guys that are just proven. It's everybody that got an opportunity to be part of this program, stayed with this program, and continuing to try to grow. These next 5 weeks are huge for our program. Things always change in the spring, but you know what? 90% of this might get etched out. And with no huge stalwart returners on the mound, these 5 weeks are huge for those guys to build some roles. Now, injuries, somebody coming on late, but I'm trying to tell all these first-year guys, things are not going to change as much as you think they might. You can't just come and turn this light switch on in January and be ready to roll. A lot of decisions. We'll see a lot of at-bats, a lot of pitches this fall, and that's going to become crystallized for guys in an evaluation, not just a coaching staff, of like who's going to play and set up certain roles. So these coming 5 weeks starting today might be as impactful 5-week window as any part leading up to the season or during the season for trying to put our best foot forward.
But you got an impressive freshman class. Obviously a lot between now and having those guys ready to perform in the SEC, but from a physical standpoint, is this one of the more impressive physical groups of young guys that you've had coming to the program?
Yeah, some things we've never had. This is now multiple publications have come out and said this is the highest ranked recruiting class in Auburn history. And I believe it is good. We've had 3 players drafted and they all come to school. So there's some things happening with our program. That's what I talk about, momentum with our program. And, last year, we've documented, hadn't run from it, we've taken our medicine and all that, but this is still a program that's hosted a regional 2 of the last 3 years. This is a program that had 11 guys play at a major league game this year. That's more than any year we've ever had in the history of our program. I think 2008 may have had 10 guys, and this year we've had 11 former Auburn baseball players play in a major league baseball game. We've had 11 former Auburn players have their major league debut since 2020, which is second in the Southeastern Conference. So, we took our medicine. Now that's over with. Now there's what are the solutions, put this thing back together and start driving. But we have so much momentum going. That transfer class is good too. I think that's a top 5 class. That's immediate help. What can a freshman do for you immediately? That's been the biggest question mark over 2 decades. These guys are great, going to be great, going to play past this level. That's the kind of talent we acquired. But I think of what Coach Dye told me that I said I was going to make sure I mention at some point in here, and I think this is appropriate. The less I say, the less I have to take back. I think this is time for us to kind of be quiet. You got to do your job. I absolutely going to do everything I can to try to give you the information that you asked for. But we need to be quiet for a second. We need to work for 5 weeks here and see where we're at. I think that's our best directive of what we need to be doing. But since the season happened, the first thing we could do was try to go do the best we could to get this great recruiting class to campus, go get the best transfers. We did. And I think I can look anybody in the world in the eye and say that we did that with help, because in this new world, you need absolute help. We got it. And so that's allowed us to put our best foot forward. Now this next step is to go out and mix it up the best we can and make this roster as strong as we can. And I'm ready. I'm ready for another Tanner Burns, another Cody Greenhill. I'm ready for some freshman All-American action on the mound. And to the positive, and the reason why they probably have decided to delay their gratification is because they know there's opportunity, and they know there's opportunity now. But we got to put the best guys out there. The Southeastern Conference is the best amateur baseball on earth, and whether you're a freshman, no matter what you were ranked or whatever you are, you must earn it. And we'll start doing that today.
Coach, you mentioned this could be one of the most crucial weeks for these players. Is
that a lot of